Torres-Gomez.
Kaya ba yung ipaapa sa ID? Thank you for my ID, honey. I'll wear it on Monday. As a child, I would always be asked, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" Although my dreams for myself have always been simple, the past 12 years have given me the greatest opportunity to do work that is meaningful and purposeful. That is, serving the land that I grew up in, the land that is my heart and home, as Congresswoman of the 4th District of Leyte. Life is full of surprises, and even as I could not guess then that I would one day be Congresswoman, all the more I never once dreamt that one day I would also become mayor. But I did have a dream when I was a little girl, and it is still my dream up to this day. I dream of the Ormoc City I knew growing up, a safe, happy place, and a people kind, warm, and welcoming. But also an Ormoc City that is so much more, one that is happier, safer, richer, healthier, greener, more beautiful, more progressive. This city has given me everything I have and has shaped what and who I am today. Ormoc was my first playground, where I grew up, where I studied from kindergarten all the way to high school. My heart is so full of gratitude for this wonderful, beautiful city. And I thank all Ormocanons who united not just behind me as your mayor and Richard as your congressman, but also rallied behind the entire Ormoc development team. It was a war. But vicious as it was in the hardest of days in the battlefield, it was a beautiful war. Beautiful because we knew what and who we were fighting for. Beautiful because of the organic, overwhelming support of those who chose to fight with and for us. Beautiful because as life, time, and politics has taught me, in the worst of times, find the people you can trust and take them with you all the way. I am honored and grateful to have fought alongside such people. We are the Ormoc development team, and time will tell that we only have beautiful dreams for this beautiful city. That we decide collectively as one body to promote the general interest and always for the greater good. I go back to what I said earlier, that in any war, you find the people you can trust and take them with you all the way. I would like to thank the wonderful mayors of the 4th District of Leyte that I fought with in this fight. For election 2022, Mayor Mike and Vice Mayor Boshi Torrevillas of Matagop, Mayor Georgina and Shine Arevalo of Palumpon, Mayor June Medina and Vice Mayor BJ Alcantara of Isabel, Mayor Sixto de la Victoria and Vice Mayor Edang of Albuera, Mayor Lando Villasencio and Vice Mayor Rudy Wenceslao of Merida, Mayor Matt Torres and Vice Mayor Miguel Tan of Cananga. I also have with us, since 2010 and always, team leaders of Kamangan Kuot, Vice Mayor Rudy Wenceslao and Board Member Indoy Arevalo. Thank you. Thank you for fighting in our corner. Now that elections are over, let us remind ourselves that Ormoc is not just you or me or some of us. Ormoc is all of us. We are just one boat. Not everyone will get along perfectly well with each other. Not everyone will agree on the same things at the same time. But then again, who says we have to mutually love or like each other to be able to move forward and together as a people? Let us rise above our differences and remember that we have a common goal. That is, keeping afloat and moving forward. We cannot achieve this without wishing our city and its leadership well. As your mayor, I have now been mandated as the captain of our ship. And I am certain that the ODT and I cannot do it without your help and support. Constructive criticism is welcome, but sabotage will not benefit anyone. If our leadership goes down, we all go down. Coming into this new job, as I embark on a journey that is very new to me, I am deeply grateful for one thing. How Mayor Richard, Congressman Richard to you now, has made peace and order the cornerstone of his executive agenda. And no matter which end of the political spectrum you belong to, nobody can gloss over the glaring truth. How prior to his term, Ormoc was infamously known as the drug capital of Eastern Visayas. But 6 years and counting, look at Ormoc City now. One of the very first cities to be drug cleared in the first year of his administration. Now hailed the safest city in the Philippines for several years running. The richest in Region 8, the most progressive. And all these did not happen by chance because it took courage, political will, and the audacity to fight anything that went in the way of making goals into reality in a short span of time. In that sense, I know I have it easier coming in as mayor because the peace and order situation is already very good. It has been set up very well by Mayor Richard and his team. I do realize that I have very big shoes to fill. Thank you, Congressman Richard, for all that you have done as mayor. I have learned and continue to learn so much from you as a leader. Your dedication and passion is on 24/7. You are steadfast, you have foresight, and you act with urgency. You fight in the front lines at all times. You never leave anyone behind. Although it is easy to hail the good days, so easy to praise the relatively painless wins, it is the hard wins, the hard days, the ones with difficult moments that I hold like bouquet close to my heart. It is in the battlefield, as the worst parts of any fight or any war rages on, where I have seen your strength as a warrior, your qualities as a leader. Thank you for leading the ODT through the best of days, but most especially during the darkest and toughest of times. Thank you to Vice Mayor Toto Locsin, my classmate since kinder, one of my first friends in the playground that was Ormoc, for being brave, trustworthy, and standing steadfastly by the ideals of the Ormoc development team, for fighting the good fight. You are not just an ally and a friend, you are a brother. Thank you to the entire Locsin family, Tita Vicky, Tito Carmelo, Mitch, Bea, Paula, Rinky. And that goes for every single member of the Ormoc development team. We have fought so many battles together. I am thankful, I am grateful for each and every one of you. We have outgoing ODT members. Vince Rama, who is now a board member of the 4th District of Leyte. Bennett Pongos, who is now our city prosecutor. Tommy Serafica and Jerry Pensurga, who are no longer councilors, but because once you are ODT, you are forever, they will take on new roles in this administration to be announced. To the incumbent ODT members, we have Councilor Jasper Lucero, Councilor Nolitz Gilang, Councilor Perok Rodriguez, Councilor Royland Villasencio, whose birthday we celebrate today, Councilor Guito Irastorza, Councilor Lalaine Marcos. We have our Punong Barangay Head, Bebe Laurente. Thank you, Kapribe. Our SK Federation President, Joanne Simbahon. And we also have wonderful new members of the Sanggunian. We have Councilor Ray Evangelista, Councilor Dr. Edmond Quirol, Councilor Daddy Bear Bert Pades, my wonderful sister, Councilor Karen Rama, and I am honored to be working alongside somebody who has had a long working history in government. He was vice governor, he was our mayor, our congressman, and he is now our vice mayor, and we will be working closely together to make our city even more beautiful. Vice Mayor Toto Locsin Sr. Ingon bitaw si Richard, every time I get kulba ba, when I feel the weight of the work ahead of me, mura siya natrobang, he always says, "It's okay, honey, you are in good hands." I know I am in good hands with the ODT. I would also like to thank the many people behind the scenes, those who worked on the campaign, took care of the many little details, those who showed up daily, stood by us steadfastly, silently but surely fighting in our corners. In our corner, we have the coordinators. Hi man atong mga coordinators, ato pakpakan malihog. They've been with us since 2010. All the drivers, the members of the IT team, the prayer warriors. Hi mga prayer warriors, let us tanawa, led by my mother, Tita Vicky, the prayer warriors. Thank you to all my wonderful titas. Every day they prayed for us. I think instead of just 2,000 Hail Marys, they did 20,000 Hail Marys, covering us all in prayer. The leaders in each and every barangay. We have our barangay captains. Tindog palihog, daghang salamat ninyo sa inyong pagbarog. Wa mo magpairog. Tungod ninyo napugnan ang pwersa, nalubong ang kontra. Pagpakan ninyo yung kaugalingon. I thank our A1 leaders, our Purok leaders. I'd also like to thank our Special Action Force. Abi ninyo police, dili. Those are the mga kamang and kuot group na I will not name kay tingalig kamangon o kumuuton sa kontra. So I will keep you secret as a secret weapon. The gawgaw and the poster boys, ang tigpilit sa tarpaulin, ang tigtangtang sa tarpaulin, those who made sure that everything was running smoothly behind the scenes. There was Perry Dean, Vince Emnas, Lyra, Attorney Joy, my 5 congressional girls who have been with me since the start. Marilor, Aning, Joylyn, Rina, who gets pregnant every elections. I don't know why na, but si Rina, wala, she's on maternity leave, but kung kapila ta ka-election, inanasag ka na ang iyang anak. She's pregnant every elections. Cherry Ann. Moving forward, I would very much like to protect and build up on the gains of the previous administration. So kung unsa ang kaayo o kulinaw nga gitanong sa administrasyon ni Mayor Richard ato kining bisbisan, alimahan o palambuon. We are ever so fortunate to inherit the stability and peace from the previous administration, for this is our foundation, the soil of peace on which progress will grow. It is our responsibility to preserve it, nurture it, and make it more fertile, for on this very foundation, we will plant progress as our tree of dreams. And this tree has 3 main parts. Its roots represent health, its trunk represent infrastructure, and its leaves represent prosperity. During my term as mayor, together we will strengthen our soil of peace. We will strive to maintain our record as the safest city in the country. CD? Make sure we remain the safest city in the country. For this, we will continue our fight against illegal drugs and sustain our rehabilitation programs. My favorite saint is Saint Joseph, aside from Our Lady, no? And one of the teachings there is he says, be kind, peaceful, and merciful. But CD, you do not have to be peaceful and merciful to those who choose to be criminals, for you have to keep our city safe. We will continue our drug rehabilitation programs, which aim to reintegrate former drug users as healthy and productive members of our community. But we also know that obtaining peace goes beyond drugs and criminality. Time and time again, we have experienced that peace is actually very fragile. For when super typhoons, heavy rains, flooding, and earthquakes hit us, all the peace, all the prosperity, harvests, business gains, and stability all come crashing down. And we are all too aware that what we have lost in a matter of hours takes years and years to rebuild. So what do we do? Right now, Ormoc City already has one of the best track records in terms of disaster response and management. We are also one of the leading cities to introduce disaster preventive infrastructure, such as our flood dikes. But these are not enough. We have to take on the challenge of localized disaster resilience. Kay suki baya igitapirmi dire sa mga baha o mga bagyo. As the former chairperson of the Committee on Disaster Resilience during the 18th Congress, I want to implement my learnings and insights to make Ormoc City the first fully integrated disaster resilient city. I cannot overemphasize the value of localized disaster resilience for Ormoc City and for all LGUs for that matter. More often than not, when we talk about disaster resilience, we focus on solving problems such as surviving floodwaters and providing typhoon and earthquake-resistant evacuation centers. These are, of course, very important, and thankfully, we are already fully equipped. However, during the time of super typhoons Odette and Agaton, I realized that LGU leaders have to think beyond physically surviving disasters. This means thinking about ensuring the quick resumption of 3 bedrock infrastructures, namely roads, electricity, and telecommunications. The reason why I refer to these as bedrock infrastructure is because without these 3, it is very difficult to bring back a semblance of normalcy after a disaster. If roads are not cleared immediately, rescue and recovery efforts are delayed, and reinstalling power lines becomes more difficult. If there is no power, there are no banks, ATMs, gas stations, drinking water stations, pharmacies. Without power, there is no cell phone signal, much less internet service. Without internet service, credit card and debit cards are useless, and remote banks and ATMs will not work even when there's electricity. To give an example, during the immediate aftermath of Odette, Ormoc City served as an oasis for residents of neighboring cities and municipalities, just because we were able to clear the roads, minimize damage to power lines, and resume power much more quickly than others. Actually, the city over-prepared, and thank God for that. Good job, Mayor Richard and the Ormoc Development Team. Because we had power, our banks, gas stations, water stations, and basic supplies outlets were up and running. The alternative scenario is one without electricity for extended periods. These places saw kilometric lines for ATM machines, gas stations, and drinking water stations. Compounded with inaccessible roads, many communities were isolated without food and water. Ormoc City is very well placed to lead our country in localized disaster resilience. This is certainly within our reach. And one thing is for sure, super typhoons and heavy rains and storms are definitely a regular phenomenon in the Philippines for years to come. So we have to protect ourselves better. With our soil of peace very well preserved and nurtured, we confidently plant our tree of dreams. But dreams for whom, you might ask? Through the course of my run in public service, in the leadership roles that we take on, I am often asked, what is our strength as individual leaders and as a tandem, a duo, Richard and I? And in response to that, I always say, it is not because we fancy ourselves greater or brighter than most, or more favored by luck or happenstance. At best, I could say that our greatest strength is the quality of the dreams we have for the betterment of the city and the district we serve. Whereas other leaders seek to keep their constituency poor and oppressed so that they are easier to control and manipulate, we seek to improve lives, make lives better so that they are empowered. I have always said that people are assets, not liabilities, and the true wealth of a nation is its people. Being responsible for people's lives is like a right minus wrong exam. If we get it right, they become assets to society. But if we get it wrong, they become liabilities in our communities. Richard and I, together with the Ormoc development team, we choose every day, with every decision we make, to make people assets, not liabilities. And by doing this, we help grow the true wealth of our city. Kitang tanan na mga Ormocanon. Again, I say this. People are assets, not liabilities. And the true wealth of our city is all of us, kita na mga Ormocanon. This is our North Star, to invest in people, improve not just their lives but also the quality of their dreams. For it is these dreams that will dictate what they will work for and be passionate about. So our tree of dreams is one that is for the Ormocanons, to be endeavored by all Ormocanons. Like I said, the tree has three main parts. Its roots represent health, its trunk represents infrastructure, both social and physical, and its branches and leaves represent activities and industries that will boost prosperity for all Ormocanons. Let us begin at the roots, which is all about health. For it is the most basic requirement for us to live. By health, I mean both environmental health and human health. It has been said that beauty is the external manifestation of our inner health. External beauty is useless if we are sick with disease from the inside. Conversely, if we are healthy from inside, with all our body organs functioning properly, we will automatically exude an intrinsic beauty that goes beyond makeup. For me, good health begins with healthy eating. Making healthy choices every day as a lifestyle, more than just treating it as a special diet or something that is done for short periods. It is my dream to develop programs to educate and inspire Ormocanons to eat with the seasons, enjoy more fruits and vegetables, be nourished using the bounty of our land. But before that, we must be mindful of how we grow our food. We must ensure the health of our water resources because water is crucial to farming. We need to internalize that similar to the cyclical nature of life on Earth, food production is the same way. We need to understand that when we dump toxic materials and trash into our rivers, we do not pollute only the waters, kill the aquatic system, but in the end, poison the very food that we consume. Ultimately, all environmental abuse only circles back to harm us, humans. So environmental health is crucial to our health as well. I can also envision Ormocanons choosing healthier lifestyles that include physical activities and exercises that promote culture-based healing and commune with nature. I want to introduce alternative ways of caring for our bodies to prevent diseases, using natural foods, herbs that heal us in gentler ways. Maingon na sa ding mga auditin na I am a witch. I want to reacquaint ourselves with the very ways our lolas and mothers knew, using things we find in our kitchen and in our gardens. It is sad that the younger generation is hardly aware of these because the habit and convenience of buying drugs over the counter for every little pain or discomfort here and there have become the norm. Congruent to this, we need to expand our organic farming programs. One of my pioneer programs will focus on promoting dili lagi na mahubo. One of my pioneer matagak na dili na mahubo. One of my pioneer programs will focus on promoting value addition to organic farming. This program will serve primarily three purposes. First, it will invest in an institution providing a model and learning center for smallholder or backyard organic farming. We will expand our sharing of knowledge, practices, techniques to all Ormocanos on how to grow healthy organic fruits and vegetables and livestock for family use and for business as well. We will continue to share seeds, seedlings, and organic farming materials to all Ormocanos who wish to start their own organic farm. Secondly, we will expand our facilities for learning how to process organic produce into value-added food products. We will have classrooms to teach food processing and packaging techniques. We will also hopefully have fully equipped kitchens for rent at reasonable rates to help small food entrepreneurs start food processing without the burden of investing in expensive equipment. Thirdly, we will create, by God's grace, a center for marketing and selling Ormocanon organic produce and other such products, processed food products, to markets nationwide and abroad. Nga no manitanan, because I wish for Ormoc to not only be the safest city, the city of beautiful people, but also the healthiest city in the Philippines. For this to happen, I want to promote healthy lifestyle choices by creating venues for all Ormocanos to access free practical classes in yoga, qigong, tai chi, bantay yun audit, kamugi una, exercise, dance, arts and crafts, meditation, as well as a center for alternative medicine and other healing modalities that, which lagi ko. We now move up to the tree trunk, which represents infrastructure. Infrastructure is a key part because it provides the means for our dreams to become reality. Social infrastructure are programs and institutions that ensure Ormocanons are healthy, safe, and equipped with proper education, skills, and training to participate in the local economy. We need conventional healthcare to enable us to address health-related emergencies, hospitalizations, and threats, such as the COVID-19 virus. So if we want our city to be more progressive, more prosperous, more beautiful, and safer than ever, we have to be prepared with the necessary education, skills, and training programs so that Ormocanons can participate and contribute to the economic goals of the city. We will further expand our already successful scholarship programs at the same time and introduce new skills and crafts that capitalize on our strengths in the field of agriculture. I envision new high-value agri-based industries, such as the production and manufacture of modern bamboo products, such as bamboo fabrics, indoor tiles, silk production, and hopefully pineapple fabric production. The possibilities are endless when we keep an open mind to all the trends and changes happening in the world today. And all these new skills will be taught, hopefully, and this is one of my dreams, in our very own Ormoc Community College. A few weeks back, we did a benchmarking activity in Valenzuela and we were very impressed with their community college. It is something that we hope to replicate here. It is a community college, free education. Everybody goes there for free. And we are in the process of putting it together. I am glad that the Academe, Dean Lizan, Dean Mitchville, They will be helping us all the way. Paspas kay Mulio atong auditio, si Councilor Nolitsky lang already said he knows the exact building for our first community college. So we can start immediately. Hopefully we hit the ground running because we have a new TESDA building. It's 3 floors. This year daw, ingon si Kong, mahuman na ang building. Even in this day and age of Google searches and digital media, I believe that libraries still play a major role in the development of communities. Because a library is like the supermarket for the mind. In high school and elementary, the library was my favorite place. I also believe that the concept of libraries have to change with the times. We need libraries that can provide free access to Wi-Fi, desktops, audiovisual equipment, quiet workspaces, group meeting workspaces, as well as still have the traditional paper books. Physical infrastructure, the provision of built structures that facilitate day-to-day movement, such as streets, bypass roads, city entry and exit roads, bridges, seaports, and airports. Even though I have focused on developing our physical infrastructure during the 12 years that I served as your Congresswoman, there is still much to be done. And yes, may we have more beautiful open spaces, parks with lots of trees and green, our very own field of dreams, playgrounds for children so that they can play under sun and sky instead of just being cooped up in their homes with gadgets. The development of physical infrastructure also needs to run congruent to our dream industrial, economic, and social needs. For example, for the tourism industry to grow, we need to attract investors to build appropriate structures to facilitate our local tourism goals. In my final term as Congresswoman, we concluded a tourism master plan for District 4, including Ormoc City. The master plan includes the creation of a promenade boardwalk at the Ormoc Bay area. This will be a major attraction for tourists. At the same time, it will boost local food businesses and other related businesses. We also recommended the establishment of integrated tourism welcome centers that connect Ormoc tourism with those of our neighboring municipalities. We also recommended a development project at Lake Danao, one that is mindful of the environmental impacts and strictly complies with our environmental laws. I am reminded of a famous line from a Kevin Costner movie, Field of Dreams, and he says, if you build it, they will come. This could not be more true of industries that we want to establish here in Ormoc. If you want tourists to come, let's build tourist attractions. If we want to develop a textile industry, let's build yarn making and fabric making factories. If we want to be a leader in organic farming, let's build a learning center, processing kitchens, and a marketplace for organic produce. If we want to export fish and aquatic products, we must build storage and packing facilities. When we nurture our tree of dreams from the roots, representing our health to the trunk, representing infrastructure, there is no other path for the branches and leaves but to flourish, grow healthy leaves, bloom, flowers, and bear fruits. These branches and leaves symbolize growth and prosperity for all Ormocanon families. Last week, I was in my office in Congress, and in one wall, I put up this quote by Theodore Roosevelt, which reads, "Far and away, the best prize that life offers is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." This quote first spoke to me when I was 35 years old, when I was first elected as your Congresswoman. And to this day, it still resonates with me. In fact, now more than ever. By saying that, I do not wish to romanticize a job that is honorable, difficult, wrought with equal amounts of joy and pain, but rather anchor myself to what is at the core of this all, which is purpose. As I sat on my chair that has served me these last 12 years, I took stock of the journey that was. Am I leaving it better than I found it? Ang akong gibiyaan sa distrito, mas maayo ba kontra sa akong naabtan? I did my best. I am not perfect, but I did my best. And I hope my best was good enough. I exit as your congresswoman to assume my role as your mayor. Thank you for the honor you have afforded me to serve, to make a difference, to make our city beautiful. Ormoc City, I am home. And by God's grace, under His strength, wisdom, and direction, I will spend the next 3 years of my life serving and loving you. How will I be as mayor? People always ask. I grew up in a home filled with love, but one bound by rules. A healthy home is one where there is kindness and mutual respect, but also boundaries, mostly in the form of obedience and respect for authority. Our city is like one big family, and rules, or in the case of governance, laws, were not drafted to make life difficult. These are in fact our boundaries to keep our peace, to ensure respect for one another and keep order in our daily lives. One of the most misleading myths is that rules or laws are restrictive, that they inhibit freedom. Somehow we have this notion that complete freedom is to be without boundaries, to be free to do whatever we want. But we are not animals. And in actuality, freedom without responsibility, bounded by laws, is actually not freedom. Because without boundaries, chaos happens. And when there is chaos, somebody else's freedom will then be obstructed. As mayor, I aim to do what is right, fair, and within our legal bounds. So if anyone at any given time is asked or expected to comply with the law, palihog, dili na pangbukod. Please do not cry harassment or oppression or accuse your officials of power tripping. We are not like that. The ODT is not like that. We are law-abiding citizens, and know that under the watch of the ODT, no criminal would or should have his or her own sweet way. So where you cut corners and hide, trust that the long arm of the law will reach you and bring you to justice. So let us just follow the law, because doing that evens the playing field and simplifies everything for everyone. We are just protecting the rights of the greater good. Reflecting a bit more on my own experience in this election, true, I initially prayed for a scenario that would be easy, perhaps no opponents, and a gentle journey. But that was not to be the case. And now, emerging victorious from a battle that was vicious on many fronts, I am thankful for all those who supported me and Richard and the whole Ormoc development team. We won a clean sweep, 14-0 in Ormoc. In the same breath, I am cognizant of the strength I gained along the way, a strength born of pain from naysayers and evildoers who tried all they could to take us down. But then we, the ODT, would not be the warriors we are today without them. And in hindsight, the greatest win for me was a deep appreciation for the virtue of fortitude. I'm sure hibawan niya ang mga pare. If you look it up in the dictionary, fortitude means to forge on even when circumstances are challenging or difficult. This lesson will guide me all throughout my life and career in the next 3 years especially. I have learned that leadership is often painful before it is purposeful, and fortitude is the bridge that can get us through the other side. There will always be those who will wish us ill, those who want to bring me and my team down. I cannot control how people will treat us, but I have full control over how I respond. And in the best and worst of days, I know it is my duty to bloom where I am planted. I know fully well that the wheat also grows with the weed, but I will keep marching on, putting one foot in front of the next, because I have been through enough battles to know that for as long as I stay in the center of God's will, all shall be well. Throughout my term as leader, I pray not just for strength, but also prudence. Prudence is the virtue that disposes practical reason to discern our true good in every circumstance and to choose the right means of achieving it. It guides the other virtues by setting rule and measure. Without prudence, a person will either be too lenient or too harsh. The elections are over, and more than ever I know that my vote is my right, my responsibility, my power, and my voice. It is sacred, it is precious. Thank you, Ormoc City, for this mandate. We all move forward together as a people, mindful that we are at the cusp of a new beginning, a fresh start. Let us be kind and wish each other well. I am a child of Ormoc City, and today, allow me to thank and honor my parents, Manuel and Julie, for never once making me or my siblings, Karen, Matt, and Jules, feel that growing up in Ormoc was not good enough, or even that Ormoc was not big enough, and that to be the best we had to go out, leave home, and travel far and away. Maybe that is why I am never apologetic or shy about my roots, about being provinciana, having grown up in a place simple but soulful. Because the basics of life and living I have learned from my parents. Our home in Bonifacio Street was my first classroom. So thank you, Dad and Mom, for always leading by example. Thank you to my sister Karen, my brother Jules, my brother Matt, for being my first playmates. Mom and Dad, thank you for teaching all of us that more than being the best or the greatest in any field, it is far more important to be matinud-anon, matinabangon, masalikan. Thank you for covering us, your children, and our respective spouses, and your grandchildren in prayer at all times. And thank you, Mom, for teaching us to have childlike faith and how all of life's wars can be won on bended knees. I thank my husband Richard for whatever courage you think I have. It's not half of what he has. I get it from him. I thank Juliana for being so supportive. So many times we missed many occasions in many milestones in her life because we had work, but she's been very understanding. Thank you, Chunli, for being an easy child. I am now your mayor. Diba yan, no? But I am just like you, flesh and bone. I am not perfect. But here I stand with a mandate to serve. May our good Lord guard and guide my heart and my ways. Mga higala, mga igsuon, mga Ormocanon, kini ang atong Ormoc. This is our city. Let us all unite and dream together. Let us make a new chapter in our story, one that builds on the legacies of Mayor Richard, one that is centered on the health, welfare, development, and prosperity of every Ormocanon, one that empowers and values people as our greatest assets. Let us dream together. Let us nurture our tree of dreams. And I promise you all, as God is my witness, shield, and greatest ally, together with Our Lady and Saint Joseph, I promise you, Ormoc, the best is yet to come. Daghang salamat, may buntag ng pagkanan.